here are some examples how in each layer everything looks like. So let's say about application layer, we are talking from top to bottom, because let's say I want to send a message. So like I did say, I send the message from WhatsApp. So WhatsApp is nothing but your application, and it went via the phone's uh, either your Wi-Fi adapter or your uh, maybe your mobile network device, your network adapter, right? So there are two entry or exit points. Sometimes you do Bluetooth communication as well. So three. So based on however you want to give, that would be your physical. And from where you are sending. So let's say my application is WhatsApp, something like that. So in the application layer, you will see that it has a platform for communication, that is your Internet Explorer, Chrome, Command Prompt, WhatsApp, whatever you want to name it. That will be your application layer softwares. What protocols would be there? So HTTP, this is used to transmit text over internet. That works on port 80. There is SMTP, this is used for sending emails. SMTP stands for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. So what exactly are these protocols? Protocol is nothing but this is a set of rules. It needs to follow certain things and then the communication takes place. So again, protocols and all also we'll be learning. But before that, we'll be talking about the layers. So some of the common protocols, I think about 10 to 15 of them, you will be using them on day-to-day life, and you would want to keep a record of how these works. So HTTP works on port 80, SMTP works on port 25, and similarly some others. Because when you're scanning a target IP, I'm talking from cybersecurity perspective, you're scanning a IP address, you get to know that SMTP is running on port 25. That means for that particular computer, 25 was open. Now SMTP is running means there might be any vulnerability in SMTP server or in the SMTP service, and you can exploit that vulnerability to get access. So that is why you need to understand what service it is, what port it is running on. Okay. See, it would look something like this. The data is going from application layer to presentation layer. Okay. So you see here. Now in presentation layer, like I said, conversions takes place to represent the data. Let's say JPG, MPEG. Now this is for certain formats of data, but binary to ASCII or whatever, compression, decompression, encryption, decryption. Like I did mention, you can see that is how the data is being sent, right? In session layer, you can see this layer manages and terminates sessions, that is peer to peer. Now you are connected to the particular person, then it will make sure that you can now send and receive. Like for example, you sign into your Gmail, it connects to it. Once you are connected or logged into your Gmail, only then you can send and receive emails via your email address. So that is how it would look. Again, it is showing that the application layer, from application layer it goes to the presentation, from there to the session, and then in the transport. So in the transport layer, there are a couple of things that happen. One is that data is converted into smaller parts, that is called as segments. So see, it receives huge amount of data. I'm sending 1.5 GB of data somewhere. So it would not send all the 1.5 GB together. It would break that into smaller parts. That smaller parts is called as segments. This will have a header, what kind of protocol it is using, whether TCP or UDP. So TCP is basically for end-to-end connections, and UDP is basically for broadcasting. But again, we'll talk about these in detail as well, but a little more later, right? So segment is equal to header plus data. So you will have this header and then you will have some data, and it is responsible for end-to-end connectivity, the transport layer. It will make sure that reliable transport is done in the network. So as mentioned, UDP protocol is unreliable, it is connectionless, and is used in live scenarios. That means it will just broadcast the message to everybody. So when you talk about a TV broadcast, they don't broadcast live cricket match to a particular TV or a particular computer. No, right? The broadcast is done for all the computers or all the televisions, that everybody can see the match. So there UDP protocol is used. But if you're talking about our session, that is a one-to-one session. Let's say we are doing this session for uh, maybe 10 of you or 15 of you. So this is using TCP protocol. We have logged into your computer. We have a session established. We know that you are the authorized person who can attend this session, and then we are doing this session. Okay, so you can see TCP versus UDP. TCP is transmission control protocol. It is connection oriented. That means both the sender and receiver needs to be connected, acknowledged, then the communication takes place. It is reliable and it is slower. It is slower because the connection needs to be established. Only then the connection will like the data exchange will take place. But uh, that is not the case in UDP. So UDP is connectionless. That means whether you are connected to the internet or no. Let's say I am watching a cricket match and then there is a power cut at my home. So would the broadcast be stopped because there is a power cut at your home? No. Regardless whether you are connected or not, it will just be sending the messages. That is its work. So that is a connectionless, right? There is no acknowledgement needed from each other that both of the devices are connected to each other, and then it runs. So we'll be also talking a little more about TCP and UDP in the next class, but for now you can just understand this. And the reason this is faster is because you are not waiting for anybody to be connected. You are just sending the data whether you receive it or you don't receive it, right? So torrent downloads, other stuff or something like this more often use UDP connections. And you can see down there is this important figure. This is very, very important in terms of networking. This is simply called as a three-way handshake. That means, let's say there are two computers. This is a computer, this is a server, right? If both needs to be connected, or you are saying about talking about TCP protocol, so then a three-way handshake is always done. So in your ethical hacking, whenever you will be using any tools during your reconnaissance, your enumeration or scanning phase, you'll be seeing whether what kind of handshake is your device doing. So lots of time what happens, you can bypass, if you know understand these handshakes, you can bypass a firewall, you can bypass uh, any IDS or IPS by fooling them. Let's say firewall says you can only connect to the protected system if you do a three-way handshake. So what is a three-way handshake? Whoever needs communication, they will send a hello packet, that is a sync packet, and then the server will reply back with sync and acknowledge. So sync means hi. So let's say I said hi, the server said hi, and it also says that your hi has been received, that is your acknowledgement. And then I reply to the server saying that even your message has been received. That means a connection has been established. I am able to hear you and you are able to hear me, right? So say it's very simple. Imagine your phone call. You call somebody, the first thing you say is hello. As soon as the other person replies back with hello, now you know that both of you can communicate with each other, you can talk with each other. Only then you start speaking. It's not like somebody answers a call and you start speaking. No. So this is basically a three-way handshake that has been done. After that, the communications take place, and all this is being set in the transport layer. Whether you need to do this handshake or you just want to just send the data, whatever you want to do, all this information is added to your data in the header plus data in the transport layer. And then there is segmentation. So like I did mention, let's say this is a very big text, hello, how are you? So this will not be transmitted in a single go, but it will be broken down. So hello will be sent, and then how are you, all of these are single segments. So sometimes I don't know you guys have used WhatsApp earlier or not, but sometimes you used to receive, if you're sending two messages and because of slower network, sometimes you may receive something like this, hello, are you, question mark, and then after some time you'll receive the how, right? So that was because of segmentation. Whichever packet was delayed because of certain reasons, it would just get delayed, right? So now the question is, if we just break the data and send it down, then the receiver might get it in a wrong way. So that is why there is another concept called as sequencing that is required. So also this information will be added as a part of the packet header, right? You don't want to receive a message something like this. So sequencing and reassembling is done via the network headers. So a lot of times, you also see when you download files, so there are certain okay, if I say checksums, that is related to the security, but a lot of times there are hashes and other things that need help you verify that whatever was sent is whatever is received, and there was no loss of data in between. All of this is required so that the data is not lost while communicating because of network issues or whatever, right? So you see, until the session layer, the data was called as data. But once it is in the transport layer, since the data was broken into smaller segments, it is now called segments. The segments are converted into packets. So to understand what packet is, you need to understand something called as a protocol. So in protocols, you can see protocol is a set of rules and regulations for devices to communicate in English language. So let's say I'm talking about websites. So all the websites must communicate in using HTTP protocol. So HTTP protocol itself is a set of rules that is defined. Now all of the web servers needs to make sure that they are speaking the same language, that is the same protocol, HTTP protocol, something like that, right? So there is going to be a very long and informative class about protocols in the next session, where we'll be talking about different types of protocols, why are they required, what is the advantage, disadvantage, and other stuff. But yeah, that is how it is going to be.